Good morning. Thanks for listening to the Everything Swallow podcast.
Well, so as I say, I'm warm. Let's get started.
Yeah, well, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, Vernon.
Yes,
it's like we need to invite you in and introduce
exactly.
you.
I'm excited about today because we have a very exciting guest with us on the podcast.
Yes,
Tell
we
us.
do. Vernon is a tantric healer.
Tantric healer and sacred intimate there's a lot of terminology that is interchangeable. So some people talk about being a tantrika, a daka, a dakini, a sacred sexual healer, a
Now,
sexual
can you
healer.
just real quick give me a little description of tantric? What tantric means?
So tantric is an ancient practice, right? It goes back, Hindus and Buddhist practice 7,000 years ago. And in the Western Hemisphere, we have evolved it to associate it more about sex and sex, but it's not sex, right?
Right.
And Tantra and most people think about Tantra if they remember when Sting was talking, 10, 15 years ago, and he would describe having tantric sex with his wife, Trudy, and they could go all night, 8, 10 hours, and no ejaculation, he wouldn't orgasm, he could just keep going, and it's all about connection.
Right.
And that's what people miss.
Right.
Tantra is about connection and presence and consciousness.
Right.
You can
I
have...
feel like that's what we do.
I know. I was going to say that.
It is amazing. You can incorporate Tantra in everything you do, from eating a pizza. You can sit here mindlessly and eat pizza with a friend and just eat and swallow. But not as in Sean Swallow. But
Everyone was thinking it.
Yeah,
Even I was thinking
eat
it.
and swallow. Better clarify that. But it's taking that bite of pizza in and really noticing the senses, right? The crust, the texture, the scent, how it feels in your mouth. Is it crispy? Is it chewy? Is it a little undercooked? The sauce, is it a little spicy? Is it a white sauce? Like, noticing everything, and the herbs. Can you pick out the basil and the oregano and that pepperoni and the peppers? Is it fresh vegetables? The mushrooms, are they pickled or canned, or are they fresh? And it's like, so instead of just eating, you're just like, you close your eyes and you take it all in. And it's life. Everything you do, the people you're with, it's about being present. And so, if you're with somebody in a coffee shop, you're not on your phone also at the same time returning texts. If you're not at Applebee's,
Guilty.
You're not looking over someone's shoulder and catching the ESPN sports scores over your shoulder.
Right.
It's about you and me together,
In this
connected, and I'm with you. I'm not thinking about what I've done earlier today, and I'm not thinking about what I've got to do later.
Right.
So you take that over into the sexual or the romantic, your romantic partnerships. And so Tantra literally means, it's Indian or Sanskrit for to loom or weave. So in other words, to become one.
Yeah, I like that.
And so in the bedroom, it's not just the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's not just fucking. It's not just having sex. But it's first you're connecting with your breath. And then you're connecting with your eyes. And then your heart. And everything is melding as one. And you're just looming like pasta,
Together.
right?
Yep.
But that wham bam thing, that's still okay, right?
Absolutely.
That's all right, fine.
Oh, there's a time and a place for everything.
Well, as our listeners can tell right off the bat, you're the perfect guest for the Swallow household.
Yeah.
And the Everything Swallow podcast.
I was going to say, I have some emails going with some people right now who this is going to speak to, just in your description of what you just said. That's what I've been describing to them. And that's what I'm like, okay, you have to take it deeper. It's so much deeper. Intimacy is so much more than people think it is. You know what I mean? It's so connected. It's so deep. It is absolutely being comfortable just being with that other person and just being.
It is.
I mean, that's how you know that other person too, because you can't, like, I know Sean's thoughts. I'll think a thought, he'll speak it out. Or he'll think a thought and I'll speak it out.
Psychic together.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that.
Like, just a little bit about us. Excuse me. We've been married 20 years now. And we met on a Friday, and I moved in on Saturday. I moved my 2 kids on Sunday, and then I never left. So we have been together since the moment we laid eyes on each
Wow.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we've explored each other in so many
We
different
spent
ways.
our first week together naked in my apartment eating mushrooms.
Just every day. We just ate mushrooms all
Peas
day.
in a pod.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
So
we
20
just-
years later, I can tell you're still best friends.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
so happy.
we do well together, and it's funny because we always tell everyone we always spend all of our time together. And this last month, since I quit that job, we have spent every moment. We've really tested our resolve, and we've had to put our money where our mouth is in a
Yeah.
sense, because there's been moments where it's like, okay, maybe we have been together too much for this last few weeks, so I'm gonna go just over there. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna go anywhere, but I'm willing to go over there for a little while. You know what I mean?
But in
And
the
so-
same breath, today I said to him, "Man, we gotta get to the hot springs.
Yeah.
We just gotta
Yeah.
because that's connection
place
time.
to connect.
Yeah, it's
Intimacy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't think about anything outside that moment. You know, and sometimes you have to leave your environment to do that.
Right, reconnect.
You know, and that's what I told
Yeah.
him. I said, "Oh man, I need to go to the hot tub so bad."
I like to do that too.
Yes. So.
Well, because you've seen as you came into the house, it's a fun house museum in here of oddities and nudity. So immediately you can tell we're into the erotic and the odd.
I can see why you intercepted me at the door before I came in.
Yeah, I wanted to
Gave
cut
me
you
that
off.
disclaimer.
I totally want to cut you off at the pass because you come walking in here thinking you're just gonna be coming into someone's regular house.
And it's
Yeah.
American Horror Story.
And it is American
like-
Horror Story.
Everything but the little girl in the front yard saying, "You're gonna die.
No,
Oh, we
I'm
gotta
building
get
her. Actually, I'm not.
You're gonna die."
We need that
We
now.
love
I'm
it.
like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. So
So perfect that you're here. Yeah. And it'd be great if you wanted to come back because, like, I do a Sex Talk Saturday and we just did our first one and kicked it off. But it would be great to have someone to come on and have some knowledge to offer up.
would you would
know?
be considered an expert?
I don't know. I guess, and I'll get into that more. I mean, it's hard to really qualify yourself.
Yeah.
Because the trainings
Yeah.
and the schoolings, I mean, there's really no there's no licensing or
Licensing,
certifications for what I do.
Right.
Anybody can go out and call themselves what I do.
Right.
So most of what you do is a sacred, intimate. There could be some training, some workshops, some schools, things
Right.
like that. But most of it is experiential.
Right.
It's your whole life,
Right.
culminating, and it's your passions, your desires.
Yeah.
And, there's a saying that says, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. And after I got out of the corporate world, after I got laid off after my last corporate job in 2011, I went through like a bit of a funk because I lost my identity. And then I got to thinking, this was like 4 years ago. I'm like, well, what do I love? Well, I love sex.
Yeah.
And I love women. And I
Yep.
love pussy.
Yep.
And I love all of this. And I'm like, so is there a way of converting this into
Right.
an income? So I can,
Yeah.
when your avocation becomes your vocation.
Yeah.
Avocations are your hobbies and vocation is how you pay your bills. And so I made that intersection like, well, I love this, so I'm passionate. I can do this for the rest of my life and not get burned out.
Right. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So I
not
guess
preferred.
I have someone.
I'm
you
a
should
self-proclaimed
meet.
expert.
And you've done well. I mean, it was a good transition of an employment for you.
It was. I mean, it's doing this kind of work is, there's not many people that have done it. So it's not like opening up a burger joint or
Right.
something where other people have done it and you can see their models and compare
Right.
their prices to yours. And, there's not many people that have done what I do. And even what I do is my own niche.
Right.
Nobody does the way I do it,
Right.
what I do, the way I do it. And so I'm inventing my own wheel and forging my own path. And so, there's a lot of trial and error and there's a lot of peaks and valleys. But over the course of the last 3 to 4 years since I started this, it's just great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then
Yep.
sometimes it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Right.
So, but gradually I'm always moving
forward.
Yep.
You know what? We were looking through your website, and what I really like about it is it's really about love and about healing and really about learning who you are. I mean, I think that's a lot of the problem that people struggle with is that they don't actually know themselves.
Right.
So you can't actually live a happy, fulfilling life if you don't even know.
If your sexuality is blocked, if
I
you're
tell
not,
everybody that.
it's
That's
our
my
God-given right
Yeah.
to have a full sexual life,
tell
right?
everybody, I say your dirties have to match. Like when you meet someone, your dirties have to match, your crazies have to match, and your love has to match. Because if your sex life does not match up, you're never going to be satisfied in that relationship. You're always going to be looking for that one thing that person's not offering you. But if you don't even understand yourself or even know what those things are,
then how can you expect someone else?
Right? How can you even
like I
start?
said, you got to be honest with yourself before you can be honest with other people.
Yeah, love that.
And for years, in every relationship, my marriages, my girlfriends, eventually I strayed and I cheated and it felt like shit. And finally, after my last relationship, I had to be honest with myself and say, I'm just non-monogamous.
Yeah.
I just have to come to terms with myself. I can't tell the next person I date that I can be in a monogamous relationship because eventually I'm probably not going to, I know I'm not going to. I can't hold that container.
Right.
It's not who I am. So I had to say, Vernon, you're not monogamous. Don't try to fool yourself and just be honest with everybody else.
Right. Well, in that too, you're hurting other people unintentionally because you keep trying and you with good intention, but then it's like, it's just not me. You know?
Worst.
Yeah,
so
it's
got to be honest with yourself before you can be honest with other people.
I agree. I totally agree.
Wow.
If you're a little slutty, you should just say, I'm a little slutty.
That's what I loved about you the most.
That's right.
That was one of the things when I'm very upfront.
You know what? The nice thing about that, when you're that honest and that transparent, is it shuts down the rumor mill.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And a very good friend of mine hosts not a podcast, but a Facebook Live every Monday night. So she did last night. Her thing was about rumors. She's all about spirituality and eroticism and stuff. But last night her focus was on rumors and how rumors get started, good or bad, and how we perceive people based on what we've been told.
Right.
Like, the person that introduced us to each other told me a little bit about you, so I have some sort of preconceived notion. They told you about me, so you have some kind of preconceived notion. Might be good, might be bad. But the beautiful thing that I learned last night, what my friend said on her little podcast, was when you're 100% transparent and you own who you are, this shuts down the rumor mill.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
Oh, I hear you're a slut. You're right.
Yep.
I am a slut.
Who'd you hear it from?
Right. You heard right.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. Well, is that person still here?
Right. Yeah, right.
Totally.
It's like one of my favorite memes is I heard what you did for a Klondike bar. Call me.
Yeah, right. I love it.
I need that hanging up here.
Yeah. And we were talking about it the other day because everyone asks us, how do you guys have such a great relationship? I want a relationship like yours. We hear it all the time. And so we spend time trying to figure out what it is. You know what I mean? We try to understand it because if I could bottle or write this formula down, then I'd be a billionaire. But I think
it is all these little things because we are unknowingly, as we've been doing our own podcast, have been finding out we've unknowingly been practicing things just because they felt right to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I don't say these things because I just make them up. I say them because I believe them.
Right, I live them.
I live them every day of my life. And so when I'm giving someone advice, this is what I do.
Right.
Take it with a grain of salt. Try it. If it works for you, great. If not, move on. You know what I mean? But people don't do that. They're too afraid.
Well, no one starts in that place of transparency.
Yeah.
And that's what we were saying is that the day we met, we were both in a place in our lives where we were like, you know what? I'm going to just be me and I'm not going to hide my dirty, myself, my anything from anyone ever again.
Great.
Both of us were in that place. We had made that resolve. And then we ran into each other at this huge freaking party. And then we both met in that place of, oh yeah, well watch what I can do. Right. And I took off all my clothes right in front of her. She's like, really? Watch what I can do. And then she won. She won.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, exactly.
Check this out.
It's so
we've
great,
kind of been doing that ever since. So when we talk to people, especially people that are transitioning out of these unhappy relationships, it's like, okay, you have this opportunity.
Yeah, you have this opportunity.
Be you to a shocking degree. Be you, and you'll find that that's the best way.
You do. And you do attract the right tribe. You attract the right people because they know you for you.
Yep.
That's what happened with me. Like, I've lost just a couple of people out of my life, but I've gained a couple thousand people in that place who know and love me unconditionally for me. And I feel so at home and comfortable for the first time in my life.
Right. So tell me the name of your company.
Healing Arts by Vernon.
Okay.
And it's still, that could be subject to change. That's what I started out when I started out, because when I started out, I was just my intentions were just to do the sexual healing,
right,
which is based on the tantric modality.
Yeah.
And since then, I have incorporated.
Yeah, I've told you this for years.
I know, I should. I guess I kind of do.
Yeah, I've incorporated a lot of stuff. You can see I have incorporated Reiki energy healing and massage.
What is that? Tell me about. I was asking her about this Reiki. What is that?
Reiki.
Mean?
So you guys are probably aware we have our 7 major chakras in the body, right? And they can get out of line.
Yeah.
Emotionally, physically, spiritually, sexually, even financially. Things that stress us and things that we have blockages. And so a Reiki master is not really a healer themselves, but they are a facilitator or a conduit to, and this is really woo people, the life force energy, the universal life force energy. And that's literally what Reiki means. 2 syllables, Re, life force, or universal key energy. And so think of it like people consider Reiki or think of Reiki as a style of massage, and it can be, but you're not massaging somebody as much as you're just placing your hands in a static position in certain locations along the chakras and the meridians of the body. Yeah. And you hold these positions for 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm not doing the healing. I'm not a healer. What I am, if you think about the analogy, is that, and I don't need to know what's even wrong with you. I don't even know what's ailing you, what's troubling you. You can share that with me if you want. I invite people to, but you don't have to. I don't need to know. The universal life energy knows where to go. Think of it this way. It's like if you are a dead battery in a car, and the universal life energy is the car that pulled up next to you with the good battery, and I am just the jumper cables. I place my hands on your heart, for example, and hold for 3 to 5 minutes. And the universal energy from the universe comes through me and in through my hands and into you. Yep. So I'm just the conduit is all I am. And so Reiki sessions can be hands-on or hands-off, fully clothed. They're very benign. They can be in your office. They can be sitting in a chair. They can be laying in a bed or a massage table. But they can be done distance. I've done distance Reiki sessions with people in other states.
I could see that being possible because it's kind of like an opportunity to just sit and reset all these different places.
It is. And you can do that, if you wanted, if we're in 2 different states or locations, I couldn't get to you, let's say Shayna, we would set up a time, say 9 o'clock Thursday morning. You find a nice quiet spot to lay down and where there's no interruptions. I do the same. And I'm focusing all of my energy, my chi towards you, and you're receiving. And you can even do it other ways that I don't usually do it this way, but some people do it where you pick a spot to lay down and just trust that I'm sending the energy. I may not be laying down the same time you are or doing it, but I'm getting to you. You take care of you and I'll take care of you in my own way. So that's kind of what Reiki healing is. And, when I started doing this, I started off doing the healing work, the tantric massage, which is also known as tantric massage, sacred sexual healing, yoni massage, a lot of interchangeable terminology about that. And the goal is to help people. When I started, actually, my demographic was women. Now it's men and women. I work with both. But
good, because I was going to book that goddess.
You're the god, buddy. You're a god. Let's not confuse that. You are a god. You can book the god session.
No, I want the one.
So I'm glad you noticed.
We looked at it last night.
I read them all. I went through every one of them.
What if I want one?
Yeah.
You can. And actually,
maybe I should go watch you do one.
I've got. You could.
Yeah.
I've got. So like about a year or so ago, I was speaking with a prospective client. And I'd only had female clients at that point, and that was like when I was doing a copy on my website, it was featured towards women and women's healing and stuff. And she said, "You're a healer, right?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "But you've only worked with women?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, how can you truly be a healer if you're only working with women?" And I just stopped and I said, "Wow, thank you."
Yep.
I said I hadn't considered it that way, and I said, "You're totally right."
Yep.
And so I've opened myself up to men, women, transgender. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what.
Because you're a healer.
I am a healer.
You want to see people
You're
whole.
just a beautiful body in front of me.
Yep.
I don't care what your gender is now, what your gender used to be, what your orientation. It doesn't matter. I don't care how old you are, how big or small you are. I don't care. You're just a beautiful person who is willing to be vulnerable with me to receive healing.
That's how I am when I make costumes for people.
It's how
when
you
I
see
make clothing. That's how I see people.
It's amazing.
It's like, come on. That's how you wish to be seen yourself, right?
That's right.
I mean, you don't want to be judged.
Absolutely.
It's like you just want to be loved. And
That's
so it's
right.
like, come on. I think that's why people like coming here too, is because it's like, oh man, whatever. What's your freak? Oh, yeah, I got you. Come on. Let me show you
Right.
something.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
It's a safe place. A
It's
safe
so
space, a
safe.
safe place.
Yeah, my mom comes to my house, and I have all this stuff all around. And Sean's mom is staying with us, and so she's a little bit more shocked by it.
Yeah.
My mom, I have that collage in the bathroom. She comes out, and I said, "What do you think of that picture in there?" And she was like, "Oh, I love it. You walk right in, her ass is just staring right at you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I laughed and I thought, yeah, because that's where I grew up. I grew up in a safe place, where it was just, it was okay.
There's nothing wrong with sex.
No.
We have, we as a society have made laws against it, made it taboo, and said it's illegal,
one of
it's
the
immoral.
most spiritual things you can do.
Absolutely.
If you're doing it
I fully agree with that.
correctly, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you can
Right.
just have
As long as
meaningless
it's safe,
sex.
consensual,
Yep.
right?
But if you
But it's a
really
beautiful
get
thing.
into it, you can really
Yeah, I say
experience some
what's really
amazing
wrong? When
things.
people say, "Oh, that's," if they say something like an open lifestyle or whatever it is that you're into, "Oh, that's wrong. I could never." Why is it wrong?
Right.
Why?
Why?
And usually you try to ask, like, when I was in the corporate world, we would always ask the 5 whys. Like if you're doing a performance evaluation with an employee, you would say, "Why are your numbers down this month?" And they would say, "Well, why is that? Well, why is that?" And then you get to the root cause of why. Right? So it's the same kind of thing when people say, that's just wrong. Why? Well, it just is.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You
And it
define
really
it.
comes out a lot about their conditioning because
Yep.
they were raised in a
Yep.
conservative
Totally.
household or religious household. But if you say, what is wrong with non-monogamy or polyamory or BDSM or kink, what is really wrong if it's between consensual
People.
adults
Right.
who are consent? And this is what we choose to do.
Yep.
What is wrong? Because there are many vices in the world, from drugs and alcohol and gambling and shopping and whatever, right? And those I can see where they can be, but this is like the one vice that's like beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the way
And
things
we're
are
meant
intended
to do
be.
it. Yeah, like we're meant to do
Right.
it. It's like why we were created the way we were created.
Right.
Go forth and multiply.
Girls have a button and boys
think
have a
about-
pole.
Think about the Roman times, right? We just everyone watches Game of Thrones, or
Yeah.
you think about the movie 300 and stuff. Back in
Caligula.
back in the time, everybody had sex with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your wife, even though it wasn't like a legal wife, but you had your wife and your family and what. But men would meet and like, "Hey, John, how you doing? Good. Roger, how are you? Hey, nice penis. You want to
Yeah.
hey, you got a few minutes?
Yep.
Want a sword fight?
You want to rub down?
Yeah.
But you could just go around your day, or your sister-in-law comes over to the house. And
Yep.
Hey, I got an extra hour. You got an extra, and nobody even thought twice about it. Everybody
Got an extra hour.
Everybody had sex with everybody,
Everybody.
and there wasn't jealousies, there wasn't taboos, there wasn't hang up. And over the course of the centuries, we've put we've tried to constrict and put sex and nudity into a little tiny box. And even like I was having a discussion yesterday, think about like even movies today. Back in the 80s, think about the movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Yeah,
right?
freaking 16
Porky's.
Candles.
There was so much
Porky's.
gratuitous nudity.
I just
and-
watched Christmas or Summer Vacation with Chevy Chase in it, and it's full frontal nudity. Of
Absolutely.
Yeah, Beverly
Her.
D'Angelo.
It was no.
Nobody was offended.
Mom boobs.
It's just the way it was.
Yep.
Yep.
And now, when's the last time you saw a movie with gratuitous
Right.
nudity in
Right.
it? But yet the movies are getting more and more violent.
Violent and like grossly violent.
Gross,
Yeah.
absurdly violent,
Yeah.
and language and stuff. And that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But to show a
And
woman's
pushing
breasts
hate.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just
And
amazing.
how come we never get any male frontal nudity?
No, not
It's
in a good
fair.
way.
Not even Game of Thrones, right? They show
Yeah.
the asses.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not fair. And you know
get
what? I
ripped all
also
the
They didn't show
feel like,
pussies in Game of Thrones, did they?
There's your bush. I mean,
Just
it's
the
bush and
bush?
Yeah.
stuff. There was
Yeah.
bush. Yeah.
you
They didn't
know,
even show
I
top
feel
cock?
like no, only the butts. Not even like side shot. Yeah, I feel like that men's penises have gotten a bad rap.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
women,
they're
are-
not offensive.
No,
They're not going to get you.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
and
no, you don't
want
they're
them
not
to.
just running around putting out people's eyes is what I'm trying to say.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, don't look at that penis. It's disgusting looking. But we can look at her vagina. Do you know what I mean? And that's
Right.
far more complicated. What's
what-
going on in there?
I was telling
You know
my
what I mean?
girlfriend because she really has a hard time giving oral to a man, and I'm like, well, you're
This
looking
poor girl.
at it all wrong, right? Like, take a minute, a sober minute, and like really look at it and feel it and get to touch it. But who lets anyone do that, right? Like what partners out there just say, go ahead, look at it, touch it, probe it, whatever you want to do.
Explore, experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
And essentially it's yours. I mean, we're together, and so it's yours. It's yours.
Ownership.
Yeah, to explore and to look at and to, you know, to be in there and to be a part of it. And that's what I tell her. Feel the texture. Feel the skin. You know, look at the elasticity of it. It's really actually a very amazing specimen if you look at it that way.
Really is, just like the pussy. It's
Absolutely.
like, oh my gosh. And it goes back to what I just said, like the 5 whys. Like, why is it wrong? Why do you have an issue with it? You know, and granted, if it's truly your boundary or just is not your thing, it's not your thing. I think it's disgusting.
Right. That's fine. That's like my mom is really put off by the nudity and the erotic stuff. She never wants to see.
And none of it is grossly erotic. I mean? It is all very tasteful.
And it's all vintage.
Yeah.
It's not like we've got Hustler hanging on the wall. Right. You know what I mean? Everything is vintage.
It's amazing, yeah.
But somewhere along the line, she's decided that it's disgusting and she's offended by it. She doesn't know why, and she doesn't care to know why.
Right.
She's just decided it's not something I like anymore, and I never want to have anything to do with it.
I just came back from Bali a couple of weeks ago, and I'd never been to Southeast Asia or Bali, but it's amazing because actually they pay homage to the penis.
Right.
There are
statues. I love that.
There are statues of like they're really big into monkeys.
Yeah.
Statues.
They always have big erect
penises with big red heads on them, and it shows them masturbating.
Yeah.
And other monkeys gathered around looking and
watching.
Doing like, right? And it's like it's a big event, and they're just everywhere. Like there's erect penises every place. Erections. It is like
I gotta go there.
It's a very stoic symbol over there, and I'm like, wow. And we
penis positive place.
Yeah, we cover our eyes over here, right?
Yeah. Definitely for the penis. We are definitely anti-penis in this country.
But without it, you have no life. I mean, it is the yin and yang. You need one to have the other. It just makes no sense to me.
This is true.
But I also wonder, those women who feel that way about the penis, have they ever even looked at themselves? Have they ever stuck a mirror down there and looked at their own pussy and got in there? No.
And some of my clients, that's what I do with some of my clients in the sessions, is they haven't.
Make them look.
And we put a mirror right there.
Is it a lot? Have you come across a lot?
It's yes. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, a few, but it's more than I would have ever imagined before. And, you know, a lot of men don't understand female anatomy.
Yeah.
You know, they don't understand the difference between the inner labia and the outer labia.
Right.
They know the clit's that little button, but they don't really realize sometimes you have to pull back the hood.
Yes.
There's a hood. And if a woman's not feeling the full sensation, sometimes you just got to retract that hood a little. Like, whoa, look at that.
Yep.
But they also don't realize
was living
that
in there the whole
clitoris,
time.
They also don't realize, and men don't, that the clitoris is actually like an upside down wishbone shape. And the clitoris is actually just the little crux at the top.
Yeah.
But those 10,000 nerve endings run down
all the way down
the outer labia, almost all the way to the anus. It's amazing. But I've come across women
That's
not literally come across women. Well, I have literally come across women. But I've experienced women that had not ever looked at, and they couldn't even tell you, you know, if they had troubles masturbating or achieving orgasm, they didn't realize, just retract the hood a little bit. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Right. But they haven't even touched themselves enough or played with themselves enough to even know,
because it's dirty, it's sinful. Right. Or another example is a lot of men don't realize there's 2 holes down there. There's the vaginal opening, and there's a urethra.
Yeah.
And you don't pee out of the same hole.
I was going to say, we don't pee out of the same hole. No. Yeah.
I've had women clients that didn't know there was 2 holes too.
Oh my!
So when I remember you came across a girl who didn't.
Yeah. And so when we put the mirror there and we explore together.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is your urethra."
And touch.
Yeah. And
touch. Because it's like, it's beautiful.
And it's super sensitive.
Oh my gosh!
Actually, if you touch in the right way, is very stimulating.
Absolutely. But I tell everybody that I had a model that came here and stayed quite a long time, and this is what we absolutely talked about. I said, well, do you know how to please yourself? Because if a woman doesn't know how to please herself, well, then her sex is not going to be good from the start. Yeah. I mean, you're just
love
already
yourself first.
Yeah, already missing it. You know, you should feel excited before you even get to him.
Right.
Because you know what you can do yourself. Right. And so it's like, oh, this is going to be so great. What can he do? You know, I hope he knows something. I found someone who knew something, and that's good. He's quick learn too.
Yeah, I'm a good student.
But I think that's why Sean and I are an anomaly, because We are monogamous
Yeah,
together.
we're both with those.
And but we're very voyeuristic. We like to watch. We like to be watched.
Very exhibitionist.
That's the way I am too.
And so that's how people misconstrue us for swingers, because they're like, oh, well, you like to watch.
So friendly.
It's like, yeah, I will totally watch you get it on over there, and I'm going to like it. And you totally watch us get it on over here.
Yeah.
And we're going to like it.
Same here.
We don't have to necessarily swap.
Right.
But some people who live the lifestyle, that's all they want. That's all they're looking for, is to swap that partner. And it's like, okay. So you find your niche, you find where you fit. People that feel comfortable with you, It's like, you're not a predator. Well, not all the time. Sometimes I am a little predator-ish.
She's situationally predator. You got to watch out.
But you set your own boundaries, right?
Yes.
You set your own lifestyle and you live within those boundaries and live the best life you can.
Yes.
But so many people are living it without any kind of sexual feeling at all. Like what do you think about someone who just doesn't like touch?
A lot of it's conditioning. A lot of it could be sexual trauma.
Right.
Okay, first of all, so people that have been obviously raped, molested, involved in incest, even things that work like the quid pro quo, right? Obviously with the Me Too movement, hopefully that's not as commonplace. But people that have had trauma associated with touch are obviously going to recoil because they're once bitten, twice shy. And then a lot of it's conditioning too. They were raised in a household that was physically demonstrative. My family, we were all huggers. I raised my kids to be huggers. We're huggers and we're affectionate. Yeah. And hopefully they'll go forth into this world and spread that kind of love. I'm not talking sexual love, but just nothing feels better than a nice warm embrace.
Totally.
Right.
We did the same with our kids.
Yeah, it's amazing, and so many people go in. Well, and this is one of the reasons I do what I do, because so many people go through life day in, day out without physical touch.
Right.
They don't have anybody to hug. They don't have anybody to go to bed with and spoon or cuddle or stay warm on a cold night.
Those poor people.
They don't have anybody to go on a road trip with and have their hands on each other's thighs.
Yeah, just driving down the road.
It's just day in, day out. And, we do have quite a considerable homeless population in Denver, and many people are not empathetic with the homeless here, and many are. Those who are empathetic might see a person at an off-ramp or on an intersection downtown and think, oh my gosh, I wonder when the last time that person had a hot meal was, or a hot shower, or slept in a bed. Well, when I see the homeless people on the streets, I think, when was the last time he or she was hugged? Right.
Or had some kind words spoke to them.
Yeah. But I think more along the physical touch. Yeah. Like, when was the last time they were just held? When was the last time they were spooned? Yeah. Right? When was the last time? Because most people weren't always this way, right? They may have had a family, raised kids, had a job, have an education, and something has happened, and now, they don't receive that touch. And I think if I were homeless and I were on the streets like that, it's not the lack of food or the hot showers or the roof over my head I would miss the most. It would be human touch. Again, I'm not talking just sex. I'm talking the hugs. Yeah. Just feeling somebody's warm embrace. Yeah. I would miss that more than anything.
Their arms around you. Yep. Yeah,
that would be horrible.
It would be horrible.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't understand. I think you have to want to change that too. Right? Like, it has to become a decision that you make in your life. Like, okay, I don't like this, but why don't I like this? Right? And if you don't make that change, then you
ask the 5 whys. Why do I have an aversion to hugging this person or holding their hand? Right? Yeah. I mean, we don't have a good reason. Yeah. It's conditioning. It goes back to conditioning.
Because it's a personal thing. I mean, you have to figure out what the personal issue is, and then you can move on from there. Because once you feel, okay, well, I don't like it because so-and-so touched me like this, then it's like, okay, well, I'm not that person. We can move forward and do something different, and not create that same feeling. But that person has to want the healing. Like, you can't ever force the healing. They have to want the healing. Right. Which can also make your partner frustrated because then they're starving essentially because...
Well, and that comes down to the 5 love languages. Yeah. I was with a partner for several years in a mostly sexless relationship, and we did our 5 love languages, and my top by a long shot was touch. Yeah. and hers was like number 4th, and it was way down there.
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person, like when we're in a relationship, like if I'm in the kitchen doing the dishes, and you come in to get a drink or something, I would love for you to come up and give me a hug from behind and give me a kiss on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
And then go back in the other room with your drink,
your
right?
thing. Yep.
Or I do the same. If you're in the kitchen cooking or something, I wouldn't ever think of even coming in the kitchen for any reason and just walking out without putting my arms
touching.
around you, without giving you a kiss, a hug, or something.
We pass in the house and we just do a mild groping.
Right?
Totally. The honk, grab a little honk,
Honk.
little tushy squeeze.
Right? Why would you not?
Why would you
Why
not?
would you pass an opportunity to
that's
not?
like, if I'm
That's
bent,
how I feel.
if I'm bent over, he's like, "Oh, wait a minute,"
yeah.
you know, and you just, and that's what he always says too. He's like, "It's so good I met you because I touch you all the time."
Yeah.
He's like, "I have to touch you."
I do too.
All the time. He's like, "And you're okay with it?" And it's like, "Yeah, I am okay with it. I like it because it's my love language too." And so it's like, "Yeah, okay, I don't mind it, you know." But like when we get into an argument, I don't want to be touched.
I'm the same way.
But he is like, "No, please."
Let's just hug it out.
Yeah.
Let's just hug it out. If we just start hugging, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And
Totally.
People that can fight like cats and dogs and scream and yell, and then all of a sudden just like clear off the kitchen table and start fucking. I can't do that. Like if there's a rift between us, I need to mend that rift before I
me
can
too.
be romantic.
Me
and
too,
that,
because I feel like the sexual part of it, I don't ever want it to have anger or you know what I mean into it.
Associated.
Right. Because that is so sacred to me and it's so special to me and it's such a place I love to live that I don't want to feel like that is part of it.
Right. Some people can. There's
Yeah.
there's what's called the erotic blueprint, and there's several different sexual styles. So some people are energetic.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like the 5 love language. There's energetics, people that prefer that. It's like you have all of it in you, right? Like with the 5 love languages, you have all 5 in you, but it's like a pie chart. Some pieces of the pie are much bigger than you might have a sliver of words of affirmation and a big piece of touch, right?
Yeah.
But it's all in you.
Yeah.
Same thing with your sexual styles or your erotic blueprint. There is energetic. So you love energetic sex, just that chemistry, that feeling, like 2 magnets, like when your lips get close to each other, right? You want to connect your heart, your eyes. The sensual, so the lighting of the candles, the aromatherapy, making sure the clean sheets are on the bed, like you want to set up everything just right, so it's very sensual. And then there's the sexual, people that can just have quickies and stink off into a bathroom or stairwell and just, fuck, right? And then you have the kink, people that are more into, kink and fetishes. And then you have, actually what I am is a shapeshifter, which can kind of accommodate from person to person and can take on any of it. I mean, I think I am more, I know I am more energetic than any of it, but I can accommodate, depending on my partner or the situation, any of it.
Right.
So I'm called a shapeshifter.
I
So
feel like that.
there's all 5 of those in your energy blueprint. So just like with the 5 love languages, if you two got together, you two have probably the exact same love language, the exact
probably.
same erotic blueprint.
Yeah.
But if I am an energetic person, I'm not going to mesh well with someone who's sexual because they don't understand the whole foreplay.
charisma
They don't
and
understand why the fuck do you got to light candles? This is fun.
Let's just get on with it.
Let's get
I
on
just
with
need
it,
you.
right? And I'm like, that's not what I need.
Right.
And so it's really awesome when you can understand that, especially if you're just dating. People on Tinder and Bumble, those are things you want to think about right ahead.
Yeah.
Is like, what's your top love language?
Totally.
Yeah.
What's your erotic blueprint?
Yeah.
I tell them
Erotic
that too.
blueprint. That's
Erotic
brilliant.
I tell them
Yeah.
that too. It's
I like that.
it's the same. It's the same.
You're
I don't know.
right.
I
I'm
do.
writing that down.
I feel like I am a
That's
shape
smart.
shifter, and I feel like I can kind of read and anticipate what you're gonna want next.
Very much so. I would say that you're very much a shapeshifter.
Yeah. And
Because she could whip candles out of her bag real fast, or a whip.
Or
You
yeah.
know what I mean? We got this is Shayna. This picture up here represents
that's
Shayna's
my alter ego.
and that's hung in our. Well, it was hanging in her house when I met her.
Yeah.
Olivia.
Yep, Olivia.
That's my alter ego.
It's hot as shit. Yeah.
But like I don't know, because I do carry this sexual energy all the time. It draws people to you. It is very much a magnet, even when they don't even understand their own. Those people are drawn first because they're just like, wait, tell me, how is this? How do you do this? How do you? And it's like, oh, you
How are you
live
so
it.
free?
Yeah, how are you so free? That's always it. How are you so free?
Right.
Because I'm a curvy girl and I don't care. I'm beautiful and I'm sexy. I have the golden pussy and I can show you that. You know what I mean? And so it's just very. I've lived that way my whole life, you know. And then when I met him, and he was like, "It is so golden, I love it." And then golden. We just
very golden.
I never met anyone that met me and matched me where I was. I would come in like a little freaking tornado and just, you know, and then I'm out. And it was like, okay, guy after guy, people after people, group after group, whatever. And then I met Sean, and it was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You met your match.
Yeah.
You met your twin flame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we live that way.
Probably gonna stick it out.
Might as well at this point. Ride it out.
But we do fun, crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you know what I mean? In relationships, you do wild things, you know, like we've gone to a swinger party. That's how we figured out we were not swingers, you know, because that's what you do.
But you're open-minded enough to say, yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to.
You don't have to participate. You're an adult, a full
Mm-hmm.
functioning adult.
You don't have to get in the pool.
No, and you can say no, thank you.
That's right.
I don't drink.
Right.
You know.
I found that out with kink. I've been to several kink parties, and I realized, I'm not really into the whole bondage and ball gags and discipline and whips. And I mean, there's a certain point where that's sexual or sensual. But the ones I've seen, I'm like, I don't get it. I like the two people to kind of be on the same plane.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. So I realized
but
I'm
that's
not
when you become
kink.
just the facilitator, right? The person that's there to just help them in that moment.
Right.
And then you're out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay.
That's your mistress persona.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's just doing the job, right? That's where the healer really comes in, because then it's like, yes, this is what you need. This is what we're going to do for you, and we're going to talk about it.
I can facilitate that in a safe, loving, non-judgmental, and discreet environment. What happens here stays here, right? So you can feel completely safe physically, emotionally, and I've had many clients that do want to experiment with different fetishes.
Yeah.
I had one client that she's like, I've been married for 12 years, and my husband he's a great guy, and I love him to death, but he's kind of a big, dumb redneck kind of guy, right? And she's like, I've had this fetish. I've always wanted to be tied up lightly, not, you know, with like silk scarves, and have my wrists bound, my ankles bound, blindfolded, all with silk scarves, and then be spanked. And have my breasts slapped and my ass slapped and stuff. And she's like, but I couldn't tell him to do this. Like, I could never even tell him. He would laugh at me and make fun of me.
Yeah.
And not
he
take
wouldn't
me
even
serious.
know how to do it.
Right, wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he would just like laugh in her face and just crush her dreams, right?
That's
she's like, but I've seriously, like, I just want that. That's all I want, but I just can't ask him.
Yeah.
Can I have you do that? Can I pay you to do that? And I said, absolutely.
Yep.
So we did.
Yep. And then she's like, you know, and it's like, when you do it safely, it doesn't really jeopardize your whole life.
No.
You know what I mean? Because she could have ran out and went out and found someone to have some torrid affair with, and it could have ruined her entire marriage.
Right.
When it's like this, and maybe even she learned something that she can take back with him.
Right. I do teach everybody how to, I'm big on the chakras, right? Mm-hmm. So generally when people come to me, they have blockages in their sacral chakra, which is your sexuality. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people have sexual issues. They have a too high of a libido, too low of a libido, ED issues, whatever that might be. A lot of the blockages come from that sacral chakra, but I can heal your sacral chakra, but a lot of times your sacral chakra is blocked because your throat chakra is blocked, because you didn't know how to use your voice and state your boundaries, or say no, or say that's not okay, and you allowed things to happen to you, even if you weren't 100% on it. It could even be your husband or your long-term partner. Maybe he wanted to stick it in your ass one night, right? And you're like, all right, I'll allow you to do that. But I teach and preach that don't ever allow, this is for men and women, don't ever allow anything to happen to you again.
Right.
If you're allowing something, or even worse, enduring something, that is not consent.
Right.
That is not consent. That is not okay with you.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you're waiting for it to be over.
Right.
And I say, if it's not a 100% fuck yeah, then it's a no.
Yep.
Period. That is consent. It's 100% fuck yeah, I want this right now from you. No questions about it. That is consent. Anything else than that is not consent.
Yeah.
And so they're like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And so, to heal your sacral chakra, we got to work on your throat chakra, because you've probably never voiced your honest communications, your boundaries. And a lot of times, even with that, We have to go even one level deeper, and sometimes I work a lot with your third eye chakra, which is your intuition. You're on a date, let's say, a lot of people, again, I go back to Bumble and Tinder. Everybody's on these dating sites, right? You go out with a guy, and your intuition tells him, I don't think he's really single.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
Something's
he's not always
right.
available when it's taken a long time for us to finally get together. He's never returns my texts after 9 o'clock, or you might even see a little tan line on his ring finger. Like, my intuition tells me, I don't think this guy's single. But a lot of women, I shouldn't just say women, but it happens to usually be women, will end up after 2-3 dates, or, oh, he's a nice guy. He's bought me a couple of dinners. We've made out a little bit. I think I'll go all the way with him, right? It's like the natural progression. But inside, your intuition's telling you, like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, this is not
red
right.
Flag,
I'm opening my legs up and letting a man inside of me, and something tells me he's married, or he's a felon, or he's a sex predator. Something is not right here, and you let it happen. So you didn't trust your intuition, and I always say trust your intuition. It doesn't lie. You'll never regret trusting your intuition. Even if it was wrong, you'll never regret it, because it's going to keep you on the side of caution. You're on the side of caution. Right. So your intuition's blocked. Then you didn't use your throat and say no. How many times I've talked to so many clients that are now, again, they're back in the dating field. They've had 2-3 dates, maybe 4 dates. Things are going well. They've kissed, they've made out. They're on her front porch at the end of the date, and she feels like she needs to invite him in. It's like, it's like an awkward thing.
Right.
She can
like
tell
obligation.
It feels like, well, would you like to come in? And of course he's going to say yes, right?
Yeah.
No man's ever said, no, I think I need to. No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And even if a woman will state clearly, for sleeping purposes only, I just want to make this clear before we go in. For sleeping, we can cuddle, but that's it. That's all I'm comfortable with. So she's used her voice to that point, but then they get into bed, and the guy, of course, on the front porch, the guy's like, of course,
I've never tried anything.
Of course, cuddling. That's all I want to do. I'm tired anyway. And then they get into bed, and he's poking her in the ass with his boner.
Yeah.
And his hands now are on her breasts, and
yeah.
And she's laying there thinking, "Fuck, another fucking predator.
Again.
Here we go." Right? But they
Again.
don't always use their voice, and they don't say no.
Get out of my
bed. So they
bed.
let this guy fondle their breasts. They let this guy put their hands between their legs. The next thing you know, they're having sex. You can't undo it. Once you've done it, it's done.
Yep.
And the next day she's thinking, why didn't I use my voice?
Right.
First, why didn't I trust my intuition? And why didn't I use my voice? So,
And then there's instant anger with yourself.
Oh, the shame, the guilt. And this is all the emotional negative feelings that I work with the sacral chakra, with the sexual healing. You work with that resentment, that embarrassment, that guilt, that shame, that rage, that sadness, the whole mix of feelings that you feel when you've been violated.
Yeah.
And again, it can come from an actual partner, a spouse, a boyfriend. It doesn't have to come from a stranger or a date. It can come from anybody. But you've got to learn to use your voice. You've got to learn to trust your intuition before you can heal your sacral chakra.
Yeah. You hear like a lot of women say too, like, oh, he violated me while I was sleeping, things like that. And it's like, oh my gosh. I have an open door policy with Sean. My body is his body. That's how we live together. And so like for me, I'm like, oh, well, you should have made that clear in your boundaries. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, he's known from the beginning. Yes, if I'm sleeping, you totally can. I don't mind. I'm not going to feel abused or offended or that I've been taken advantage of. I like it. I enjoy it.
Never once woke up angry.
No.
Because it's 100% hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah. If you want to molest me in the middle of the night, I'm there.
Go for it.
But now, like, he knows other things. It's like, okay, no, don't do that to me while I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, okay, it was mostly anal. No anal. That's not a fun way to wake up. But
oh, he's dreaming. Then he starts thinking he's.
I was groggy, and I thought I was.
Well, yeah, if you're dreaming you're out of it or something, it's all of a sudden someone's probing your anus. Then your dreams start thinking,
changing.
Am I in prison? Right. You have these prison dreams, and you think Bubba's got you from behind.
But it's the same way with him. Like, I mean.
No anal while I'm sleeping.
That's a good boundary.
That's a hard and fast rule in this house.
But it is in setting boundaries, but it also is within your communication.
Right.
All of it starts with communicating. If you don't communicate, you can't even talk about these things.
Starts with that throat chakra.
How many relationships or couples out there have never even talked about anal?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Other than nope. Nope.
How many actually don't talk about anal, but they both secretly want it?
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They both are like, I'd fucking love to have my ass played with. I'm embarrassed to even talk about it.
I talk to so many men, and it's like they like it, but their partner has no idea that they like it. And I look at them like, why are you telling me?
And
you're
meanwhile,
telling me, you're not telling her?
Right. Or when she's self-pleasuring or looking maybe at porn, she goes to I know women, they go right to the gay porn.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have this fetish, like they want to explore.
Yeah.
Open up, ask her. If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is always no. It's usually never get the hell out.
Right.
Well,
right? It's just, that's not for me.
Water sports, like,
Exactly.
like some people they're water sports.
Yeah.
There's another common one. It's like, I think that'd be kind of hot. Get in the bathtub and pee on each other. Sure. It's kind of different, but what's the harm? What's really wrong with it? And both people actually would like to experiment, but you're too shy to bring it up to
you. Or you've had one conversation that went bad, and so now there are no other conversations to ever be had. And it's like, come on, man, no way.
Tried it once, you got mad, so I'll never try it again. I'll just fantasize about it and wish I could for the rest of my life and be resentful towards her when she's secretly willing to try it again, but I don't know.
Right. And like for me, I'm like, okay, let's try it this way. Sure. You know what I mean?
Right,
Well, maybe this way next time. Even in that moment, be like, okay, we got to change this right now.
What's wrong with it?
Right.
Let's try it.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's why we went into the swinger party and was like, oh.
The swinger party. And so when you came in and looked around and saw you asked if this was a lifestyle party. And I think I've been thinking about it. It's not, but it is. Because this is a party that is open to any lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if you're
and
you're a big old prude and you don't want to come to the party, come anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like the poly people, she reached out to me because they've had some issues come up in their life with other people coming up against them. And so she reached out to me and she was like, can we come? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, can we bring our others? And I was like, you can bring your others.
Bring them all.
I don't care. And she was like, are you kidding? And I said, no, that's your life. You wear that badge. I don't wear that badge. Right. You can wear it in my house.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't have to necessarily pick that up and wear it. But yeah, absolutely you can come.
Yeah.
Because who knows who else you're going to meet here.
Right. So in a way, it is a lifestyle. It's just not
swallow
specific.
Lifestyle
it's
party?
a swallow lifestyle.
Lifestyle is a broad statement.
Yeah.
It's not a swinger party. It's not a druggy party. It's not a hippie party.
It's be yourself party.
It's a be yourself.
Be yourself. Live your lifestyle.
We love you as you are. If you're in our home, you're welcome, and we love you as you are, as long as you're respectful.
Respectful. And we say, don't bring your kids because there's only a few times in your life that you can actually go out and be yourself. We're offering that to you, so just come, have fun.
Yeah, even our party that was adult only has confused some adults.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean, adult only? That means it's going to be like real weird in adult section. It's like, no, that means there's no freaking kids here.
Yeah.
So if a boob pops out, we don't all have to freak out because there's an 8-year-old that might see it.
If someone's on the back porch smoking a joint or getting hot.
Or if mom totally gets bombed, that's okay. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. Yep.
Because dad's taking her home.
Exactly.
Just leave the kids. There's not going to be a piñata, and there's not going to be a birthday cake.
That's right.
If there's a piñata, it's going to have rubbers and shooters.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Dildos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Butt plugs.
Like that.
Right.
Butt plugs.
The little ones with the gems on there.
Hey, we should do that. we should start marketing like sexual piñatas, right? Full of condoms and butt plugs and little vibrators and cock rings. And this all falls out.
Now I'm making a freaking penis piñata today.
Man.
I'm doing it. I'm paper macheing the snake head over there. And so I'm already going to have the paper out and the mache. So I might as well just throw together a penis. I'm doing it.
Okay.
I got balloons in the drawer.
I got toys. New ones.
Right. We'll go to the romantics and load that fucker up, man. Could you look all these penis suckers fall out? That's great.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
They don't make vagina suckers, so we'll just get like certs. We'll just open them up and just throw the certs in there.
Oh, they do. You can actually, I think it's like Spencer's or something. They have like the vagina suckers too.
That's funny.
Roll of certs. Ooh, I got a orange
But if
vagina.
you make this piñata like you did the last one, you're going to have to saw it open.
Yeah, well, I've learned my lesson. I used to make all the kids piñatas. And so for my son, I was like, I'm going to make this one really hard for him and his friends. So I put Elmer's glue in my mix, and I had to saw the piñata. They couldn't beat it apart. We tried. So I had to get the saw out. So I won't make a sawable penis. Sawable penis. So tell us, we're pushing an hour here. And so I don't want to go without you describing your your business and telling us about you
how we
and how we can find you, and a little bit of what we could expect and the healing that someone could expect, from a session with you.
Okay. So, yeah. So if someone was interested in a session, generally I'm found by word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to advertise.
Yeah.
You got to be really careful because what I do is considered a legal gray area in the eyes of the law, right? Because I am touching genitals, and more often than not providing a sexual release, right, in exchange for money. But the difference in what I do is that it's not for entertainment or sexual purposes. It is for healing and exploration only. Healing physically, emotionally, psychologically. It's very sacred. It's not just sexual. But with that said, I can't just go anywhere and promote myself, right? So, I mean, I've got the website.
It's
I've
hard
got
to
a
buy
Facebook.
Advertising.
It is. It is really hard. I've been kicked off a lot of places, even as benign as I try to write my advertising. The next thing I know, it's been deleted. We've taken down your ad. Well, okay. So, I've got my website. My business name is Healing Arts by Vernon. And my Facebook page is Healing Arts by Vernon. My Gmail is healingartsbyvernon@gmail.com. So everything's Healing Arts by Vernon. So that can be found there. Most of my customers or clients come through word of mouth and referrals from other clients or just people that have known me and have experienced my energy, because this started off being a very female field. There's a lot of females that do it, there's a lot of males, but males have this creepy factor to overcome, right?
Yeah.
A lot of males that do this have this perversion, a creepy, it's secretly they're getting off.
Right.
They're not doing it for the right purposes. And so I always start off with, if you've never met me before, we've never had a session, then I offer a 1 hour, usually it's sometimes 2 or 3 hours, free consultation where we go to someplace.
Get to meet
Yep, we go to a coffee place. We find just a quiet table we can talk, but it's in a public, and you can feel my energy, feel my aura, look into my eyes, and get a sense of trust right off the bat, and that I'm not a creepy pervert.
Right.
All right.
Feel safe.
You're right. I want you to feel safe, and so nothing happens until we've met face to face, and I answer all of your questions. I talk about what is involved in a session and what is not involved. We talk about boundaries and agreements and consent, sometimes till we're blue in the face, because that is so important.
Yeah.
So that way, by the time you arrive for your session, which is usually either at your place or a hotel room, I don't do in-call anymore because I don't have a home.
Right.
I've been living in my car for 2 years now, and I have a camper, and I travel. I travel like full time. So I'm not always in the Denver area. I'm kind of like my home base. But so I don't have an in-call location, and I don't have a studio. People that do what I do, we don't do studios. We don't have offices because it's too clinical.
Right.
We're not going to have you come to an office building, come up to the 4th floor like it's a chiropractor's office.
I bet that would feel
and have fluorescent lights overhead, and it feels too clinical. It's not done on a massage table.
Yeah.
It can be. I've offered that. I've only had one person that preferred a massage table to a bed.
Yeah.
But so to be clear, it's a very intimate experience.
Yeah.
To have the sexual healing, and it's usually done in a bed, either in your home or hotel. So when you do arrive, or I arrive at your home, hopefully I've already put you at ease and you're ready to begin. And but when I arrive or we get together, and I prefer hotels best, just because the hotel rooms there's no distractions.
Right.
If we come to your home, somebody could ring the doorbell, your dryer buzzer goes off, the kids get off the school bus at 3:30, so we got to hurry up.
Yeah.
You're in your bed, and you're looking up at your ceiling fan, and you're seeing dust bunnies on the ceiling fan. You're like, oh my God, I got to clean my ceiling fan.
Right.
And if we go to, a DoubleTree or the Renaissance Hotel or someplace like that, it's clean. The bathtub is clean, which I always draw a bath for you. So when we arrive, we'll have a little chit chat. I'll ask you, what are your questions and concerns? What have we not covered? What would you like to talk about? So we talk and visit a little bit first. And we talk a little bit more about boundaries. Have your boundaries changed? And then your session will begin. Once we've had the
Is there any paperwork associated with that? Any signatures?
No, there hasn't been. Some people have like consents and some people don't. Because really, what's a consent really going to do?
Right.
What I'm doing is technically illegal. It's not going to hold up in the lies of court.
Yeah.
Right. And so I could use a consent form, but
You're trusting them because they're trusting you.
We're trusting each other. We're both being vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
a whole atmosphere of trust. Once you pull out the paperwork, again, it's like, oh, whoa, what are we doing here, right?
Yeah.
And so I know people that do it, and they're proponents for paperwork, and some people say you're stupid for not doing it, but I prefer to work by trust. So, so we start off after a little small talk and chit chat and feeling comfortable. I always check in with your boundaries, and I check in by asking how you're feeling. I'll use a gauge like green, yellow, or red. So if you're green, hey, I'm good to go. I'm looking forward to this. Let's get the party started. If you're yellow, it means I'm kind of on the edge of my comfort zone, my boundaries.
Slower.
Yep. It's like I'm just a little nervous,
A little reassurance,
but let's keep on going. I'm okay. But if you're getting to orange or red, if you're like, I'm a little orange, I'm like, okay, we stop. We stop and we back up to like, where did we get off track, or what did we not cover? What changed? Or we just stop entirely. I've never had anybody just stop entirely. Sometimes we just need to talk a little bit more, go a little bit slower, and that's totally fine. My sessions are all open-ended. I never do more than one in a day. When I schedule you, that's it. And I have no end time. So my sessions are all at least 5 hours long. Believe it or not, the 5 hours goes by fast.
I bet it does.
So it's at least 5 hours long, and my longest one is 13 and a half hours.
Wow.
And it's a flat fee. I don't want you to, I don't want to say I'm charging, $100 an hour. My rate's $80, and it's based on $80 an hour, but it's a flat fee of like $500. That's it. And that way, if we're done in 5 hours, and we stop when we find an organic, natural stopping point. When I feel like we've done our work, we've accomplished a lot here, I think this is a good time to close down, right? But again,
now that's your choice or the client's choice?
Both, because we're constantly checking in with each other. I'm always checking in with her. I can also kind of feel when she's kind of spent, and she's released a lot.
Well, I was gonna say you could probably feel that too in the green, yellow, red levels too, because you can feel their energy. I mean, I know I can feel the energy, and so then it's like when it begins to change, it's like, okay, we still good? Yeah. So it is just really using your intuition, because you can tell, and your discernment. You can tell if you're paying attention to that other person like you should be. You can. Got to
pay attention to the verbal cues, the nonverbal cues, everything, right? And so for people that just to get kind of jump to the punchline, then I'll back up. But a tantric massage, a sexual massage, a sexual healing, tantric healing. Again, it's all interchangeable. A yoni massage, and yoni is an Indian word. It's Sanskrit for pussy, right? For men, we say lingam instead of cock. Women, we say yoni. It's a pretty word. Yoni, just a pretty word. So you get a yoni.
Pussy's a pretty word.
Yoni's prettier.
It is a little prettier.
Yoni's a pretty word. And it's less triggering for some people.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
I've never met anybody who's triggered by the word yoni.
Right, yeah.
Right?
People can be
so
by it.
A tantric massage culminates in a yoni massage. It is hands-on and hands in, fingers in.
Yeah.
So it culminates in a yoni massage, and even more specifically, what we call a sacred spot massage. So if it's a yoni massage, what do you think your sacred spot is, Shayna? Inside a yoni. Where's your sacred spot?
It'd be my G-spot.
Your G-spot.
G-spot for the win.
Yeah, G-spot. So that's what's actually going to end up. It's not specifically because we're going for the G-spot. So here's what happens.
It'd be amazing to be able to show women their G-spot. Like they can't ever even find it.
Most can't access themselves because of the angle.
Also benefit from
Men would benefit too. Yeah. And I'm available for that. That's what I do.
That's right.
So the reason people come to me for the sexual healing, again, just for some context, is for healing because they've shut down sexually because usually of traumatic experience like rape, incest, molestation, assault, etc. And it might have happened when they were a little girl, right? When their dad's best friend would come over, and when their dad was in the other room, he would have his hands down her pants, or she was always having to sit on her creepy uncle's lap, right? And she never said anything. She was 8 years old, and of course she didn't say anything. Or you go off to high school, and the way, again, a lot of my context is around women, but it's men too. But women especially, the way they imagine losing their virginity is this dreamy thing. It's like, because you watched Disney movies their whole life, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be tender, and it's going to be sensual, and he's going to be it's going to be soft, and it's going to be loving, and usually it's in the backseat of your car after prom or something, right? Or after the game on Friday night, and it's dry, and it's rough, and it's painful, and it's anything but good. And then he didn't talk to you at school the next day, and he told all his buddies, and now you're being slut-shamed, so it's a traumatic experience. Or you go off to college now, and you go to a frat party, and you wake up in some basement bedroom someplace with your pants off, or your skirt up around your waist, and you don't know what the hell just happened to you. You're alone, but you know you've had sex, right? And you get your shit, you get the hell out of there, you don't report it because you feel embarrassed, you feel ashamed, you feel guilt because if I hadn't had that extra drink, or if I hadn't dressed the way I did, or I hadn't flirted with those guys, it wouldn't have happened. And that's all wrong, because it's never your fault. No matter what you do, it's always the aggressor's fault. The aggressor. But you get your shit, you get out of there, and you push those feelings down. You suppress all of that negative energy, that negative emotions. Or you know, now we're in adulthood, we're dating, and we leave our drink on a bar to go to the restroom, and that guy roofied you, and you took advantage of you, and again, you feel that guilt. You're like, I knew better than leave my drink alone at the bar. What was I thinking? So you don't report it. You just think, drive on, suppress these feelings, move on, pull up your big girl panties, but it doesn't work that way. When you don't deal with these negative emotions, then it culminates inside your yoni into energetic knots. I'm not kidding you. This is the crazy part. So we've all had massages. We go to a massage therapist to get a regular massage. And when they're massaging our shoulders, they come across knots in our shoulders or our back or whatever. And it's a little painful, it's a little tight. But as they apply pressure with their fingers or the palms of their hands, it might be uncomfortable. But once that knot bursts or dissipates, we're like, oh my God, I feel like a new person now. I can move my neck. I can move my shoulders. I needed that. I've been carrying that for so long. It's been so long that I've had that crick. So similarly, this is where it gets crazy. So with each one of these traumatic experiences, right, that compounds over decades sometimes, women get these little hard pea-sized knots on the anterior wall of their yoni. So that's where your G-spot happens to be. And
interesting.
We're trained, so a tantric provider, a sexual healer, is trained to palpate in like a clockwise motion, starting at like 1 o'clock, with 1 or 2 fingers, and find these knots. Yeah. When we find them, we apply upward pressure, just like a massage therapist on your shoulders, upward pressure. And at first,
I'm a yoni masseuse.
And I'm a yoni whisperer.
And it can kind of help then break up those.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you feel it, and so first it might feel wonderful, and there can be orgasms and multiple orgasms, and it feels wonderful because that's where your G-spot is. And I actually do try to achieve that because it helps you relax. Right. Once you've had an orgasm, do what you want. I'm yours. Right. Yeah. But then when we get down to the nitty-gritty, and I find that knot and apply that pressure, and I'm working with you, it's like a sexual exorcism. Yeah. I mean, there's energy expelled that you can't even imagine in this room. It's like Linda Blair's head spinning backwards. Yeah. So that first knot might represent that creepy uncle. I release it, and it's tears. You just start uncontrollably sobbing. So I'm talking snot bubbles. You can't stop. You can't turn it off. No. And you're like, I don't know what's happening to me. I can't even stop. And I'm giving you the Kleenex, right? And then, every time that happens, I stop, and I usually ground you with my body. Yeah. And I'll tell you beforehand, when this happens, is it okay if I lay on top of you and hold you and assure you that you're safe? You're okay. I've got you. You're safe. Let it out. This is the healing.
Retraining. Right? Retraining. Yep.
And then we'll start again. And the next time might be maniacal laughter. Yeah. I mean, you're laughing like the Joker. Right. You can't. It's like crazy laughter, right? And then all of a sudden, bam, it turns to anger, and you're raging. And I've been punched. I've been punched in the ribs. I've been laying on top of a client and just holding her. And she's not angry with me. It's that guy that roofied her drink. Yeah. And she's like, that motherfucker. And so she's punching my ribs, and she's letting it out, and she's crying, and all of this simultaneously happening. Yeah. And my job is to hold space and assure her, this is the place to let this out. You're okay. You're safe. I've got you. Yeah. And let it out. Get rid of these knots, the energetic knots, the physical. So these energetic knots, of course, take their tolls over a lifetime. Absolutely. Right? They begin with, you have the blockages, and you have the emotional negative feelings, the guilt, the rage, the shame, the embarrassment you're carrying with you. Well, when that happens, that can result in manifestations like eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia, because you have body image issues sometimes, right? Sleep disorders. You can't sleep. You're an insomniac. Eating disorders. I said that. Sexual disorders. You're very promiscuous.
Yeah.
Or you
Not
have
at all.
no libido. Don't touch me. Don't come near me.
Right.
And those are all a result of that creepy uncle, of that college party you went to. And
wow.
And then when you're feeling all of that, and you've got the eating disorders, the sleep disorders, the sexual disorders, that stress that's never gone away, well, then what does that lead to physically? High cholesterol, high
health.
blood pressure, increase of stroke, increase of diabetes, all of this stuff, right? Even cancer. So we're undoing all of that. But you're not going to get rid of it. You can't suppress these feelings until they go away.
Don't you find it interesting? Because Sean and I, we've been in ministry. We've done quite a bit of healing, and spiritual healing, sexual or not, it looks the same way. It looks the tears, the emotion, the outburst.
Less fingering.
Well, yeah, but
really?
Yeah.
Well, unless you're a Catholic priest. It depends on the denominator. Some ministry, I think there's quite a bit of
that
fingering
is
going
the
on.
truth. That's the truth. But it is interesting because when you find yourself in that moment, I feel like the person that is experiencing the healing, whatever needs to be healed just kind of comes out. Like even it can sometimes surprise them. Like, oh my gosh,
absolutely,
that happened too, and I remember that now.
It comes back.
Yes,
you had these feelings, but you can't remember the instance.
Yes,
because I've talked to women that have said, and men too, that have said, I don't think I've ever had anything happen to me. Like, I don't know. I've had a pretty decent life. I've never had anything traumatic. Well, actually, you probably have. You've just suppressed it so far that you don't remember the instance. It's like PTSD.
Yeah.
You blocked out the instance, but you still have the feelings and the muscle memory.
Yeah.
And so, and
once you bring it up
chakra.
and you bring it up and you talk about it, don't you feel like then it takes the traumatic part off of that experience?
Yeah, it does.
Now you've healed it. Now it's just an experience that was in the past, and you move on from it.
You've taken the power away.
Yep. And here's the other thing too. So, for women who have trust issues with men, or it's hard for them to open up or feel fully open, it's because they've had these issues, right? They've had this traumatic experience.
What about like women who have had traumatic experiences with men, but then become a lesbian?
I don't know that I'm versed enough to probably comment on why, if it's truly because of that. I mean, it could be. That's hard to say.
Yeah, right?
I really wouldn't want to speak to that right now. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, the world right now is so twisted and convoluted like that. You know what I mean? I've been hurt by these men so many times. Now I'm going to go be with a woman.
Right.
But don't you think that if you don't heal the hurt from the men, that can easily just transfer to the woman, because that woman now is becoming the lover, the giver, you know what I mean, could very easily become the abuser in your own mind's eye if you don't heal that pain.
Right. I'm sure that's.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I know it's a different show.
I'm sure there's probably. I'm sure there's probably women who are with other women because of that exact reason.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have one lesbian couple who I love to death, and she's been on my show, but she said that she never had an internal orgasm until she became with a woman.
Oh, yeah. Well, because a woman doesn't know that,
Right. Well, and
maybe
I
there
think
was
too,
also a block there because she doesn't. Maybe was. I'm really deep in this, but she didn't feel she was in the right place and to be free enough to have that kind of
until she was with a woman.
Yeah. And so
because she says she always wanted to be with a woman even as a younger girl, but she wasn't right. You be with a man, you're with a man, you're with a man, and then she gets with a woman, and it's like her life started.
Right, you feel whole.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
Just
that might be outside of your.
Yeah, we can come back to that on another show. Maybe.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll give you something to think about.
But that's the background, like why I get a lot of my clients, right? Issues. They're dating again. They want to learn to trust men again, and they can't until they're healed. Just different reasons along those lines. So, but with a session, like I said, it's 5 hours long. It goes by fast. But so we visit first. We talk about we check in with boundaries and questions you might have lingering. Then I draw you a bath. with your I talk ahead of time, like, what's your favorite bath additives? What scent do you want? Eucalyptus, lavender, lang lang, patchouli, whatever. Lang lang?
Lang lang.
Oh yeah, that's the essential oil for your sacral chakra.
Interesting.
Every chakra's got its own correlating oils, and lang lang is for your sacral chakra. So I will find, I'll get, whether it's salts, bubble bath, bath bomb, whatever scent, whatever your favorite bath. And most of them are like, I don't know, I haven't had a bath in a long time.
Right.
Or I've never had a bath.
But that's even part of like,
I've never had a bath drawn for me.
Yeah.
Like, wow. So I draw this beautiful bath for you. And that's another reason with the hotel, the bathtub I know is clean.
Yeah.
We don't have to clean your bathtub first.
Right.
Shower curtain's not moldy and stuff. So, but we draw this beautiful bath. I fill the bathroom full of candles, music, hot water, rose petals in the bathtub. And I tell you, you sit in here as long as you want. There's no timeline. And I've had women sit in the bath for 2 hours. I can hear them turning the water back on, running more hot water.
Yeah.
And they come out 2 hours later just like jelly, right?
Yeah.
And when you come out, I'll greet you and I will invite you to sit on the bed with me, Indian style, crisscross applesauce, and check in again. How was your bath? How are you feeling? I do that a lot. And we will begin doing some tantric exercises, some breath work, some breathing exercises, some moving exercises. We'll do some moving, some light, very benign touching.
Yeah.
So you get used to my touching,
Yeah.
like touching your forearms. I'll stroke your hair and the sides of your face. Oh, I'm getting right. Yeah. Shayna's getting right. It's very, very sensual.
Yeah.
I've got the lighting changed in the room, and I turn the hotel or your room into a loving space rather than a living. So you come out of the bathtub and I've converted everything. So I've thought of everything: sight, scent, sounds, everything. Got the right music, the right temperature, the right flowers. I buy bouquets of flowers, and I've got your favorite. I ask you ahead of time, like, what's your favorite flowers? If it's roses or orchids or whatever, I've got a beautiful bouquet for you, and that's you're going to take home when we're done. That's your like parting gift.
Yeah.
Take that home to remind you of what we did today. And so we'll do the movement exercises, some words of affirmation, just different things like that. And then when you're ready, I will ask. Usually you're in a sarong or a robe. After your shower, you bring your robe with you, and I will ask, "Are you ready?" Yes, and I will ask if I may remove your robe, and I'll slide it past your shoulders, and then I'll ask you to go ahead and lay down, face down, and I will begin a full body sensual massage from your scalp to your feet. And I'll spend about 20 to 30 minutes on your backside, getting you used to my touch.
Yeah.
It's very sensual. It's not about getting those knots out of your back. This is not deep tissue. This is sensual. And although I don't focus on your breasts or your pussy or your genitals, I don't ignore them either. So my hands will glide up between your legs, slide up between your inner thighs, across your breasts. It's full body, so you can be like, ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, all right, keep going.
Well, and you're relaxed, so it just continues. It's like, okay, yeah, this is nice. Because if you even think about how many women have never even experienced half of the things you just said, I mean, your class should really be teaching men.
I agree.
And I do that.
To be sensual.
So I work with couples too, and
Yeah.
I do that. I teach the men how to set the stage and how to touch their woman, and how to not just go for the gold right off the bat.
Really, it's just like how to pay attention to somebody else other than yourself
Tantra.
for a few
Presence.
for this much time. I think anyone can really do that if
Presence and
they wanted to.
consciousness.
And that's what we talk about a lot in our relationship talks with people. It's like, how much time are you spending with your person like that?
Yeah.
How much time are you really getting intentional about what you're doing? Because like describing what you did, that's all intention. You took the time to ask her the questions to find out what she needed, even wanted or liked, and then you brought it to the table. I mean, that
I
right
do things
there.
their spouses or their
Wouldn't
boyfriends
you-
have never done.
But
They
should
won't
be
even.
doing.
Yeah, they should be
doing.
doing.
We should be
Right.
doing these things for our
but
wives.
won't even take the
monthly.
time to learn.
And women, women are goddesses in my
Yeah.
work. So, I teach them, you are a goddess, and you deserve to be treated like a goddess. And your yoni or your pussy is a sacred space.
Yep.
And nobody has the right to enter you with their fingers, their lingam, their cock, whatever, without your permission.
Right, it's your
It
golden
doesn't matter
pussy.
if you're making out. It doesn't matter if it's your husband. So even in my last long-term relationship, I always ask permission. We would be making out, and I would say, "May I enter you now?" And sometimes she would say, and she was cute. She was like, I don't know. Let me check in with my yoni and see. And so she kind of like, she's like, actually, my yoni says she wants more kisses on her neck. And so I give more kisses on her neck. She's like, yeah, now she wants her ass slapped a little bit. Okay. And so after a few more minutes, she's like, now my yoni's ready for entry. But I never just assumed because we're making out and because we've done everything else in foreplay that I could just slide inside of her, right? There's this sacredness that a lot of men don't get and a lot of women don't either, that think about the amazing magnitude of being inside another person.
Right.
We take it so nonchalant. We just ram our fingers in or we slide our cock in and no, you're inside another human being.
That's what we talk about.
And for her to allow you there, that is a gift. And that's not to be taken lightly.
It's a big responsibility.
By the time women leave me, they're like, goddamn right, I'm a goddess.
That's right.
And they're like using their throat chakra all the time. And I've had husbands call me like, I don't know what you taught her, but my life is turned upside down. But they're not actually upset about it. I've had really amazing husbands that just like, wow, she's a whole new woman now. But thank you. Because we have this great communication now, and she's standing in her power. She's standing in her truth. And if she doesn't want to have sex, she says she doesn't want to have sex. So anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, and we have snag. I have really sensual finger foods.
And it's all laid out on your website.
It is,
You don't pull any punches or anything on the website. You're very clear about what your sessions are, what they cost, what you can expect.
Over communication.
Yeah.
Over communication.
Yep. That's what I said to everybody. It's better to over communicate than to miss something.
And I'll tell somebody too. I've had these consultations, and sometimes I don't feel I can help you, or I'm not the best person, and I'll refer you to maybe somebody else, because as I don't want to take you on as a client if I don't see that it's going to be have a beneficial outcome.
Because you're not looking to
because then I'm not helping you.
Yeah, you want to help people.
And then that maybe possibly even exacerbated the problem.
And that goes into everything, though, when you're a healer. That goes into any field you're in. It's like if you meet, it's like you just, okay, this isn't, I can't help you. I've met people. People come to me all the time. And it's like, okay, no, like, this is beyond me.
Go get some counseling.
You need to
and that's where you'll talk therapy.
Else.
This is touch therapy.
Yeah.
And I had a couple I was working with for a long time, and they just moved out of state. But they spent years and thousands of dollars going to counseling and therapy. And in one session, I did, and it was a couple session actually, and I did in one session more than years of talk therapy did for them.
Yeah.
They can journal, they can talk, they can write letters to their aggressors and send them or not send them and do all the things a talk therapist says. But sometimes you just need that nurturing touch. It's kind of like that feeling of being a child and your mother or father holding you, or when you're sick, they're giving you that third eye kiss on your forehead and just holding you, that warm embrace, and just feel like all your troubles are melted away.
Yeah.
And a talk therapist can't do that. And so a touch therapist can do that.
Yeah.
And so that's, one of the things I do.
Awesome.
That's great.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to put all the information on the description of this link and all that, but it is Healing Arts by Vernon, VERNON.
Correct.
.com.
Correct.
Yeah. And then, maybe people need to see you and they don't even know they need to see you.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just know that they're off, or they know that they're not.
But they can reach out to you and be like, I don't know if this is something you heal or do.
Right.
But
They might just need a Reiki
this?
session.
Right.
They might just need a
that is the truth
Reiki,
right there.
right?
Because just starting right there, it starts to open everything up. You think more clearly, you hear more clearly. Yeah, I think everyone but I feel like that goes along with like physical therapy, right? It should just be part of your everyday life. Do your body workouts, do your chakra, go out before you get contaminated by the day.
Awesome. Amazing.
That is it. Well, I would say too, if anybody has any questions, wants to reach out to us, everythingswallowpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we can answer any questions, or we can forward them right on to you. But you sound easy to find. Healing Arts by Vernon.
I am.
.com or Healing Arts by Vernon on Facebook.
Feel free to give out my phone number, text, email, phone calls. I respond to all.
And all that's available on the website.
It is.
And the website is very thorough. So if you have any questions, if you're left with any, you can go to the website, and it's all right here.
Right, Sean.
Well, I love this. I think I'm now going to become a sexual healer.
I think it's about time.
Right.
I think it's about time. I think men need that.
It's only been a little.
Men need it, and men do need it too.
Yeah.
Men need it as much as women. We just don't think so. Our pride gets in the way, or we think.
I know so many men right now who need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And men gets a lingam massage or prostate massage.
Yeah.
Yep. It culminates in prostate and or lingam.
That's another show.
Stay tuned for next week.
I won't say what I was going to say.
You are not a doctor, Shayna.
I'm working hard to become one.
You play one in the bedroom, don't you?
Just in this life.
Yeah.
That's so great. Yeah, well, thank you for coming on. And I would love, we'll talk after the show if you want to come on to a Sex Talk Saturday, because that'd be super fun.
I'd love to, and I appreciate you two having me here.
Yeah,
today.
absolutely. And then we'll share this. You share it everywhere. And
That's great to meet you. Just to meet you.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys are wonderful.
All right. Well, thanks. Yeah. Okay. Should we
Thanks,
say goodbye?
everybody. Yeah, let's say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Let's say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
There you go.